ones last.
Welcome back, patrons, to another episode of
Rogues Prime Galleria.
Yes, the true crime podcast that you are all patrons of currently. And if you're not, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. I'm Todd H., your host, coming to you from a padded room somewhere in the Sunshine State. And tonight's show is about Charles Cullen, American serial killer. There are so many of them. That's disturbing, isn't it? Anyway, let's deep dive into this story right now.
Think about the very people we entrust with our lives, those in healthcare. Now imagine one of them betraying that trust on a scale almost too large to really comprehend.
It's chilling.
Yeah. We're talking about a nurse who didn't just fail to save lives, but actively ended them potentially hundreds of times.
Right. And while the confirmed number of victims is, around 24? Some people very close to the case, they believe the true number could be, much, much higher. Hundreds, even.
That huge gap, that's what grabs you immediately, isn't it? Between what we know and what's suspected.
Mm-hmm. It points to something terrifying. This sustained campaign of harm, completely undetected, inside the very places meant to heal us. How does someone do that for so long?
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today on the Deep Dive. The really chilling case of Charles Cullen, often called the Angel of Death.
Infamous name.
It is. And to understand this dark story, we've looked at a whole range of sources for you. Everything from Wikipedia to really deep reporting by the New York Times, CNN, the Philadelphia Inquirer, Newsweek, NBC New York, LehighValleyLive.com.
Oxygen, True Crime, all that's interesting. Collider, The Teal Mango.
Yeah.
Even 17 magazine covered it.
Yeah, and we also pulled from places like Murderpedia, a psych summary from Radford University, NPR reports, and even, actual court decisions from Justia, Pennsylvania.
And having that variety is so important, right?
Yeah.
Because you get the journalistic angle, the psychological analysis, the legal stuff.
Right.
It pieces together a much fuller picture than just one source ever could.
So our mission here, for you listening, is to pull out the absolute core of this disturbing story. We want to grasp the sheer scope of Cullen's actions, how he managed to move between so many hospitals undetected for 16 years.
Incredible.
What was his background? What were his possible motives? And then how was he finally caught? The sentencing, and maybe most importantly, the impact this all had.
On the healthcare system, on public trust.
Yeah, exactly. Think of this as your shortcut, your way to understand this really complex and honestly unsettling case without getting buried in all the details. So let's start at the beginning. His early life. What do we know?
Okay, so Charles Cullen was born February 22, 1960, in West Orange, New Jersey. Youngest of 8 kids.
8 kids, wow.
Yeah. And tragically, his father died when he was only 7 months old.
Oh, wow. That early.
Mm-hmm. An early loss like that, it can really impact development, maybe lead to feelings of instability and insecurity later on.
And it sounds like his childhood didn't get much easier. Reports say he was teased at school, and this is incredible. He apparently tried to commit suicide when he was just 9 years old. Mixed chemicals.
9 years old. That signals just profound distress at such a young age. It's hard to even fathom.
And then as a teenager, he reportedly got really fascinated with Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
Right. The novel about the psychology of a murderer. You have to wonder, don't you? Was that just intellectual curiosity, or did he connect with something in that story? That exploration of guilt, transgression, given his own early struggles. It's unsettling to think about.
Then another blow came in 1977. His mother died in a car accident while he was still in high school. He described it as devastating.
And he apparently had issues with the hospital afterwards too, right? About how they handled her remains.
Yeah, he felt they didn't inform him properly, that she was cremated without his... Okay, a lot of distress there. The next year, 1978, he enlists in the U.S. Navy.
Okay, so the Navy. This period gives us more clues, maybe. He served on a submarine, the USS Woodrow Wilson, as a ballistic missile stack.
Which you'd think would require some serious psychological screening.
You would. But apparently he was seen as a misfit, got hazed, bullied by the crew, that kind of environment.
Yeah.
Oh, it could easily make any existing vulnerabilities much worse.
And there's this really bizarre incident on the Woodrow Wilson. He was found at the missile controls, but instead of his uniform, he was wearing a surgical mask, gloves, and scrubs.
What? Why?
He never explained it, got disciplined, but no explanation, just
Yeah.
Weird. Later, he was reassigned to a supply ship, the USS Canopus, and during that time, he made multiple suicide attempts, ended up in psychiatric wards several times.
So the distress is escalating, clearly.
Definitely. He eventually got a medical discharge in 1984. The specific reasons weren't disclosed, but you can connect the dots.
Yeah. It's a clear pattern, isn't it? The strange behavior on the sub, the isolation, the repeated suicide attempts. These are major red flags, serious psychological distress, long before he ever put on nursing scrubs professionally.
Right, and it makes you wonder about those initial screenings for the Navy and the support he got or didn't get after things started going downhill.
Exactly. So after the Navy, what's next? He enrolls in nursing school.
Yeah, quite the turn. Mountainside Hospital, 1984. And get this, he graduates in 87, and he was even elected class president.
Class president? That is jarring, given everything we just discussed.
Isn't it? It really shows how someone can present a very different face to the world than what's going on inside.
Maybe it was a way to seek acceptance, to feel in control, capable, after feeling like an outsider for so long.
Could be. And that same year, 1987, he gets married to Adrienne Baum. They have 2 daughters. But the marriage didn't last, and it sounds like it was pretty troubled.
Yeah, his wife apparently became really disturbed by his behavior, and alarmingly, his cruelty towards their family dogs. That's often a warning sign.
Definitely. They divorced in 93, and she actually filed a restraining order against him. What came out in those filings?
Well, the allegations were really disturbing. She claimed he did things like spiking drinks with lighter fluid, burning one of their daughter's books.
Oh my God.
She explicitly said she feared for her safety and her kids' safety, suggested he was mentally ill. Now, Cullen denied all this, but the fact that his own wife felt she had to take that kind of legal action, it says a lot about his behavior then. Adds another layer to this picture of increasing instability.
So we see this path. Troubled youth, difficult Navy time, then this brief period of seeming success nursing school, family followed by this really alarming decline in his personal life.
And right around then, the unthinkable starts.
The murders, a 16-year spree. From 1988 all the way to 2003, across 2 states, New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
16 years, multiple hospitals. The scale is just, it's hard to wrap your head around. How could someone operate like that, causing so much harm for so long? It really points to big problems in the system itself.
His first confirmed kill was Gisengo Sr., June 11, 1988, St. Barnabas Medical Center, lethal overdose of intravenous lidocaine.
Lidocaine, usually used for heart rhythm problems or as a local anesthetic.
Right, and that was just the beginning. His main method, it seems, was injecting overdoses of different drugs into patients' IV bags.
What kinds of drugs?
Things like digoxin, that's a heart medication, insulin, which lowers blood sugar, epinephrine, norepinephrine, dobutamine, those affect blood pressure and heart rate, sodium nitroprusside, quite a range.
So drugs that are commonly found in hospitals, but lethal in overdoses.
Exactly. And reports also mention him turning off ventilators sometimes or giving medications that weren't approved for the patient.
The methods suggest access, opportunity, and a chilling disregard for the standard procedures designed to protect patients.
And the victims. This part is just horrifying. While, yes, some were elderly or very ill, he didn't only target them. Some victims were actually recovering. One was just 21 years old.
21. So that completely blows apart any claim of mercy killing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shows this terrifying lack of discrimination in his targets. It wasn't about ending suffering for many of them.
It really underscores a profound disregard for human life itself, regardless of their condition.
And the list of places he worked, it's long. St. Barnabas, Warren Hospital, Hunterdon Medical Center, Morristown Memorial,
Liberty Nursing and Rehab, Easton Hospital, Lehigh Valley Hospital, St. Luke's, Sacred Heart, and finally, Somerset Medical Center.
This constant moving around, this job hopping was absolutely key to him getting away with it for so long, wasn't it?
Definitely. He exploited a massive loophole. He'd resign or maybe get fired under suspicion or for poor performance.
Right.
But there wasn't a solid system for these hospitals to share information. Or maybe they were hesitant to.
Yeah, it seems like hospitals were really worried about lawsuits. Like if they gave a bad reference or investigated too deeply and were wrong, they could get sued.
Which is understandable from a legal perspective.
But the consequence was that Cullen could just move on to the next place, often with a clean slate, relatively speaking.
And the nursing shortage at the time probably made it easier for him to find jobs quickly too. Desperate hospitals might not have dug as deep as they should have.
So the chilling takeaway here is a system that maybe prioritized avoiding legal trouble over patient safety in some ways.
It certainly looks that way in hindsight. And think about all the red flags before he was finally caught. Contaminated the viewed bags investigated at St. Barnabas early on, patient complaints dismissed at Warren, destroyed records at Hunterdon.
Fired from Morristown for poor performance. Fired from Liberty after some incident with syringes and a patient's broken arm.
An investigation into a digoxin death at Easton that went nowhere. Resigning from St. Luke's when suspected of stealing medication. Fired from Sacred Heart after only 16 days.
It's a pattern, a glaring pattern of serious issues.
A litany of warning signs. And yet, somehow, he kept getting hired in places where he had access to vulnerable patients. It's almost unbelievable.
It really exposes how vulnerable the system was. But things finally started to unravel at Somerset Medical Center. That was the last place he worked. Hired there in September 2002.
And in just about a year at Somerset, he's thought to have killed at least 13 people and tried to kill others.
Including that young man, Michael Strenko. Only 21, recovering from surgery. Killed with norepinephrine. Just tragic.
It really hammers home that his victims weren't just the elderly or terminally ill.
So what started to change at Somerset? How did they finally catch on?
Well, people started noticing things. Staff saw him accessing patient records he shouldn't have been looking at, patients he wasn't assigned to.
Okay.
And weird patterns with medication orders, like ordering drugs and then immediately canceling the order. Suspicious stuff.
Were there other warnings?
Yeah, actually, the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System, the Poison Control Center, had put out a warning about a cluster of suspicious overdoses happening at Somerset. They flagged it.
So external agencies were noticing too.
But the real turning point seems to have been a specific patient death in October 2003. The patient died from unexplained low blood sugar, likely insulin. That death finally pushed the hospital administration to call the state police.
And this is where his coworker, Amy Lofren, comes in, a fellow nurse.
Yes, her role was absolutely crucial. She started getting suspicious of Cullen herself, noticed his odd behavior around medications, the computer system records.
Right, the Pyxis machine records, wasn't it? Showing him accessing drugs that weren't for his patients.
Exactly. And she started connecting his presence or his actions to some of the unexplained patient deaths or codes. It took incredible bravery for her to pursue those suspicions.
Absolutely. And she didn't just suspect him, she acted. She went to the authorities, provided them with crucial evidence.
Even agreed to wear a wire, didn't she? Just to talk to him, try to get him to admit something.
Yeah, talk about courage. Facing someone you suspect is a serial killer, your coworker, and trying to draw out a confession.
Her actions were instrumental, no doubt about it. It directly led to his arrest. December 12, 2003. Finally stopped him. Her vigilance really highlights how sometimes it takes one individual stepping up when the system itself has failed.
So after the arrest, the confession started. He admitted to murdering Florian Gall and trying to murder Jin Kung Han at Somerset.
And then admitted, potentially, to 40 murders over his whole career.
Yeah.
Though the exact number is still debated, isn't it?
It is. He couldn't or wouldn't recall all of them. But he entered a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. The condition was that he had to cooperate in identifying other victims.
So he pleaded guilty in New Jersey to the 13 murders and 2 attempted murders at Somerset, plus 3 more later. And then in Pennsylvania, another 6 murders and 3 attempts.
Right. Though apparently those Pennsylvania court appearances were pretty volatile. Reports of outbursts from him.
Suggesting maybe not much remorse there, or just complete detachment.
The sentences were severe, thankfully. In New Jersey, 18 consecutive life sentences. He won't be eligible for parole until 21403.
Basically never.
Never. And
Yeah.
Pennsylvania added 6 more life sentences on top of that. So justice, in terms of incarceration, was served. But the question still remains, why? What were his motives?
Well, his stated motive, his claim, was that he was performing mercy killings.
Right. He said he wanted to spare patients the trauma of a code blue, a cardiac or respiratory arrest, and end their suffering. He even mentioned preventing what he saw as dehumanizing treatment by hospital staff.
But as we've already said, that just doesn't line up with the facts in many cases.
Not at all. So many victims weren't terminal. They were expected to get better.
Investigators have suggested he might not have even fully grasped the suffering he was actually causing, not just to the patients, but to their families.
He also described living in a fog sometimes, blacking out memories of the killings.
Yeah, claiming he couldn't remember the exact number or why he chose certain victims, whether that's genuine memory loss due to psychological state or just obfuscation. It's hard to say. It certainly clouds the picture of his true motivations.
The author Charles Graeber, who wrote The Good Nurse, really dug into his psychology. He pointed to Cullen's narcissistic traits, this idea that Cullen saw himself as a hero, almost.
A kind of worked savior complex. And there were reports that he got an ego boost, maybe, from the praise he sometimes got when he intervened in emergencies he might have caused himself.
That's incredibly twisted. A combination of maybe narcissism, a need for control, maybe this bizarre mercy justification. It's a disturbing mix.
A deeply disturbing psychological profile. Rationalizing horrific acts in a completely self-serving, possibly delusional way.
And beyond Cullen himself, this whole case just blew the lid off major systemic failures in healthcare, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We touched on it earlier, the nursing shortage, the lack of strong reporting systems between hospitals for problem employees.
And the fear of lawsuits really seemed to paralyze some institutions from acting decisively, even when they had suspicions.
You had multiple hospitals suspecting Cullen, but nobody took that definitive step, legally or administratively, to stop him from just getting another job elsewhere.
The families, of course, filed lawsuits against the hospitals. Many of those were settled, often confidentially.
Which, while providing some closure for the families, can sometimes mean the full extent of the institutional failures isn't made public, hindering wider learning.
But there were positive changes, right, in the aftermath?
Yes. New Jersey specifically passed new laws. They now require healthcare facilities to report suspicious patient deaths to the authorities. A direct response.
That seems crucial.
It is. And improvements were also made to the National Practitioner Data Bank. That's the database meant to track problematic doctors and nurses. The idea is better information sharing across state lines, across institutions.
So trying to close those loopholes that Cullen slipped through time and time again.
Exactly. These were necessary steps trying to strengthen patient safety and accountability, trying to make it harder for someone like Cullen to operate under the radar for so long.
The cultural impact has been huge too. Books, documentaries, that Netflix movie, The Good Nurse.
Capturing the killer nurse, the 60 Minutes interview with Cullen himself, Amy Loughran telling her story on the Criminal podcast.
It's brought this horrifying story to a massive audience. What's the significance of that, do you think?
Well, it forces a conversation, doesn't it? A really uncomfortable but necessary one about trust in healthcare, about patient safety, about hospital hiring practices, even about the psychological pressures on healthcare workers. It raises awareness on a huge scale.
And serves as a stark reminder of what can happen when systems fail and vigilance lapses. So finally, where are they now? The main figures.
Charles Cullen, he's now, in his mid-60s? He's incarcerated in New Jersey State Prison in Trenton, serving those multiple life sentences. He's not getting out.
And Amy Loughran, the nurse who helped stop him.
She lives in Florida now, works as a Reiki master, a meditation instructor. Her story, especially is told in The Good Nurse, really highlights the incredible impact one person's courage can have. She's rightfully recognized for her crucial role.
So wrapping up this deep dive on Charles Cullen, let's bring it back to you, our listener. It's shocking on so many levels. The sheer potential number of victims, the 16 years he operated, the systemic failures that enabled him.
It's deeply concerning.
Yeah.
But it also highlights the immense importance of individuals like Amy Loughran, people whose vigilance and bravery can make the critical difference in stopping tragedies like this.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with a really heavy question to think about, doesn't it? What does this whole case tell us about the trust we place, almost blindly sometimes, in healthcare professionals? And what are the responsibilities of the institutions employing them?
Yeah, how do we ensure better accountability? How do we prevent these kinds of profound betrayals of trust in the future? It really forces you to think about that balance between, individual evil, individual culpability, and the failures of the systems that are supposed to protect us. A lot to reflect on there.
Thanks you again for tuning into
Rogues Prime Galleria.
I'm your host, Todd H., and tonight, we took a deep dive into the chilling case of Charles Cullen, proving that sometimes the real danger isn't in the dark alley, but in your hospital bed with a smile and a syringe. A big thank you to my co-hosts, Eli Stone, who dissects these cases with the precision of a courtroom surgeon, and Nora Steele, who brings the kind of insight that makes you wonder if she has a direct line into the criminal mind. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, share with your fellow crime junkies, and tap that notification bell. Think of it as your own personal EKG monitor that spikes every time we drop a new episode. You do want to stay alive for the next one. Well, that's tonight's show. So we'll see you next time on Rogues Prime Galleria.
Inside, don't look back. Every shadow's got a name. From the alleys where the cold steel sings, to the suits with blood on diamond rings, ghosts of power, greed, and flame. Every legend leaves a stain. Whispers crawl through history's halls, mugshots hanging on haunted walls. Outlaws riding, empires fall. You're one step from it all. Truth gets buried, lies get tall, but we're the ones who hear the call. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time, we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Ponzi kings with a silver grin, my boss deals in a world of sin. Six gun smoke in a desert sky, another outlaw lives a lie. Cold case files and a killer's code, buried truths on a broken road. Every story that chills your spine, we bring it back to life. No escape when the truth gets loud, faces staring from the crowd. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time, we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Every name carved in the night, every wrong dressed up is right. If you listen, you'll hear them breathe in the gallery. They never leave. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria. Step inside, don't you falter. Every sin, every twisted mind, we expose what you won't find. Darkness calls ya, now you're part of the past. In the Rogues Galleria, you ain't leaving once you pass. Rogues Galleria, where the stories never die.